recording this. Okay, folks, so we are recording an introduction to phonics, and we're going to talk about lesson 1, closed syllables, module 1A, lesson 1. The first thing you have to do in lesson 1 is introduce the sound. Okay, so I'm going to skip all of the hello student kind of stuff and just show you what to do. So what you want to do is you want to show them the sound and say the sound ah. Ah. Can you say ah, Graham?
Ah. Ah.
Very
Okay.
good. Ah. Okay, again, Graham. Ah. All righty. Graham, let's do this in the air. Okay, so put your finger in the air and let's trace the shape of ah. And say the name, sound.
Ah.
Beautiful. Can you do it again, please?
Ah.
Beautiful. Can you bring that down smaller now?
Ah.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. So you've introduced the sound ah. So you did so well with that. But now we're going to do some reading, and all of these syllables are going to have ah in them. All of the syllables will have ah. So, Brian, would you be my student, please?
Yes,
Okay, Brian, can you see my screen okay?
I can.
Can you see 3 columns?
Mhm.
Okay, and I know you know what a column is, but your students will often not know what a column is. You might have to confirm that. Okay, Brian, would you read across, please?
Ba, ka, da.
Okay, Brian, I'd like you to go back and I'd like you to practice the sound ah a little bit more. So ah is made, you want a real stretch in here. Make a big mouth, ah, go for it.
Ah.
Make your mouth bigger this way, not this way. Ah, go ahead.
Ah.
Ah,
Ah.
that's perfect. Do it again.
Ah.
Ah, 5 more times.
Ah.
Ah,
Ah. 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 Ah.
you got it. And that's the sound that I want you to use in these syllables, please, Brian. Go ahead.
Ba, ka, da.
Very good. Next line.
Fa, ga, ha.
Again, I want you to do less ah and more ah. Okay, go ahead.
Fa, ga, ha.
That was perfect. Next line, please.
Ja, la, ma.
And the last 3 lines.
Na, pa, ra, sa, da, va, wa, ya, za.
Great. That was nicely done. And what's the vowel sound we're working with again, please, Brian?
Ah.
Okay, one more time. Big mouth.
Ah.
Perfect. Can you read these 3 columns going down, please?
Ba, fa, ja. Ka, ga, la. Da, ha, ma.
Terrific. And now we're going to read the rest of it. Let's go down these 3 columns, please.
Na, sa, wa, pa, ta, ya, ra, va, za.
Perfect. Nicely done. Okay, you can take a bit of a break, Brian. We're going to pick on somebody else. Nicole, would you be my student, please?
Sure.
Good. Nicole, would you please say the sound ah?
Ah,
Perfect. And would you read these syllables going across, please?
ab, Ak, af, ag, al, ap, av,
Beautiful. And now can you read them down the columns, please?
ab, al, ak, ap, af, av, ag.
Beautiful. Nicely done. All right. So you're so good at reading the syllables, we're going to do some spelling. So what I'd like you to do is take out a piece of paper, a piece of lined paper, please. Or if your mom and dad bought you a notebook, that's even better. Take out your notebook. Okay. And write the date at the top. So let me show you how to do that. Hang on a second. I have to go in, folks, and get my whiteboard for this. Okay. Okay. Do you know what the date is today? Anybody know? Okay.
November 11th.
Yeah. And in this, folks, I ask you, please don't write by hand. Please do not write it by hand. Okay. It is Saturday, December 11th, 2021. Don't give them abbreviations. Okay. Teach them how to write the date. So can you please copy that at the top of your page on the top line? And let me know when you're done. Okay, so now I'm going to hide my screen because you're going to do some spelling. So would you please write in the margin the numbers 1 to 10? And I want you to double space. Now, do you know what the margin is?
No.
Do you know what that means? Okay, let me show you what I mean by that. I can share my screen and show you what I mean.
I do
That's
know. I just
why.
want to see how you'd explain it.
I assumed that. Here you go. So here's a piece of paper with a margin, okay? So this red line is called the margin, and that's where we write the numbers, okay? So I would like you to write the number 1 in the top line and then skip a space and write the number 2, skip another space and write 3. And folks, if your child really has difficulty with this, we do have an exemplar that we can send you, or you can easily make an exemplar and show them. Yes.
If a student has a notebook that does not have a margin, so like my notebook doesn't have a margin.
Then you ask them to get a ruler and you draw the margin. We're trying to help them. We want at the same time that we're teaching them to read, we want to make them as strong academically as we can make them. You know what I mean? So we use the language, we use the left, right, the margin, double space, those kinds of things to help them connect with what's really happening in the classroom. So if you've got the numbers 1 to 10 written down, double space, then what I want you to do right here in the middle, okay, is I want you to pretend there's another margin line. And across from the number 1, in the middle of the page, I want you to write 11. And across from your number 2, I want you to write 12. And I want you to go all the way down to 20, please. All righty. So I'm going to say a syllable. I want you to repeat it, and then I want you to write it. So what do I want you to do before you write the syllable?
Say it.
Repeat it. All right. You ready? Number 1, ba.
Ah,
Number 2, ma.
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 Somebody sounded a little bit like a goat, didn't they? Number 3, va.
Va.
The.
Number 4, app.
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 I'm sorry, Naz, what did you say?
App.
Perfect. Number 5, ca.
Cat.
Ka.
Okay, so let's pretend you'd written 20 syllables. Okay. Okay, Nicole, you've got them all written down. Now, what I'd like you to do, please, is I would like you to read to me what you wrote. Tell me what number and read me the syllables, please. Number 1.
1, ba. 2, ma. 3, va. 4, app. 5, ca.
Beautiful. So you would go through. So the reason we have the student read it back to us is we want to make sure that they've written what we've asked them to write before we have a look at it. But the thing is that if I just read the same syllables to them, the child's like, right? They're not focused, they're not paying attention. If they have to read it back to me, they have to be focused on the task. Okay. So then in this case, mostly we will have the parents send us a photocopy of the work or a picture of the work. But in this case, it's a few syllables. I can look at them. So I'm going to say to the child, can you please hold your page up to the camera and let me see your good work? Naz, it'll be you. Beautiful. Now I have a question for you folks. Lovely. Syllable 5 is ca. What would we do if Naz wrote it Ka?
I did, yeah.
Still good?
Still good. Why is it still good?
Same sound?
Absolutely right. And it's not a word. There's no context. There's no meaning. So as long as she represents the sound. What would we do if she'd capitalized?
I think that's okay.
Maybe because we want to get them knowing when to capitalize
Well,
correctly.
you haven't taught the capitalization rule. When are you going to teach the capitalization rule?
Lesson 2.
Lesson 2.
Right. You can't penalize them for anything you haven't taught them.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter which one you use to represent the sound. Right now, you're only thinking, does the child recognize the sounds? Can the child write them in order? Okay. What if instead of app for number 4, when Naz was reading the back, she had said pa, she had read pa. What I would do is say, this is what I said. I said app. Will you please say app, Naz?
App.
Say it again, app.
App.
Okay, look at number 4. Do you need to change anything?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, all righty. Can you just put a dot beside that and write your new syllable beside that one?
Okay.
So it's more effective to have her look at her work and to hear and see that she's made a mistake than for me to say, that's wrong. Because once I've said it's wrong, the lesson's over. There's no more learning that's happening, right? So that's how we do a spelling dictation, okay? So the student always repeats the target. The student rereads what was in the lesson, or what was in the test, so that we know that they've got what we asked for. If it's a mistake like a writing error or a spelling error, we repeat what we wanted. We ask them if they want to change it. And if they say no, if she said, no, I don't want to change it, I got it right, then that's what I mark, that she's not seeing the distinction between pa and app. And that's something that I need to know as the teacher, right? And to see how often that's going to happen. And that's probably going to show up when in lesson 2, she starts building words with the movable alphabet. That kind of mistake might show up, and that's a really great place to solve that problem if it's happening. Okay, so I'm going to stop this recording.